Alright, so here's a quick turn by turn. Now, I'm really only going to focus on Poland. Why? Well, partially because this is a huge board and it's hard to tape, but partially because the communist player got the Polish scoring card. Now, in a real game, you wouldn't probably want to play it out this way, but after setup, people go back and forth. The communist gets to place some influence 2, then the Democrat places 3, then the communist places 3, the Democrat places 4, then the communist places 2 more. You can put them in any place on the board that doesn't already have an opponent's support point. Now, partly this might turn out the same way, because what was happening is that if the Democrat or the communist had gotten the East Germany scoring card, which neither did, then you might see a little more action in East Germany. However, the communists started out the gate by putting a lot of stuff into Poland, so that the Democrat didn't start putting things in East Germany, or at least a lot of things in East Germany, signaled for the communist player that, oh, he probably doesn't have the East Germany scoring card. However, that the communist player went out the gate putting a whole bunch into Poland signaled to the Democrat, he's really interested in Poland. I wonder if he has the Polish scoring card. So in a sense, this might happen in a real game where Poland becomes a big battleground right out the gate, and I think it's quite frequently going to happen in the real game. Now, what the goal then of the communists is going to be, as you can see, this is after the setup. So as you can see, Gdansk has 3 and is controlled by the Democrat. The Catholic Church starts the game controlled by the Democrat. And the Democrat also put some into Krakow, controlling Krakow, and in Wrocław also put a few in, almost controlling Wrocław. Now, Lublin and Bydgoszcz, not sure. These are not controlled, but have a bit of influence by the communists. The communists then bolstered power in Poznan and Warsaw. So it's not looking real good for the communists, but the communist has some things up his sleeve. He also, you can't see it, it's right at the top, so let me just put some into Dresden. So again, that's an adjacent, so the communist does have things up his sleeve. Now the communist also has nice control here in 2 places right away. So those are some good things. The communist got a good mix of cards. A good mix of communist cards. There's the scoring card. And only a few of the Democrats' cards and one that. Unfortunately for the communists got a lot of 2s and 3s, so not a lot of operations points. On the flip side, the Democrat got a huge hand. Look at that. 3s and 2s and 4s with only 1-1. Unfortunately, some of the big ones were communist events, so that's going to be something to have to deal with. So anyway, the communist is going to go first. I'm going to play Brought in for questioning. Brought in for questioning is a nice event. The Democrat player must randomly discard a card. If it is a communist event, it takes place immediately. That's kind of a nice event. But the communist is also looking at the influence on the board and thinking, well, I've got to work on Gdansk, getting rid of that. I've got to work on Krakow, and I've already got some things in motion. So rather than put that in, they're going to use that for operations points. And they're going to put all 3 into here. That opens up the elite, so now they can use elite cards and worker leader cards when that scorecard gets played and the power struggle happens. See, that's something to think about. You're not always going to be thinking about position. Also, when the communist is planning to hit Gdansk with a support check and get +3 to that because of the control they have adjacent. So this is some way that they can shake down the player who is playing the Democrat. So that would be a good first move in a sense. Now, the Democrat's going to think, so we'll see what the Democrat does. Well, the Democrat's lucky and has the 1-2 punch. This wouldn't necessarily happen in the game, but the Democrat got really lucky with this hand. He has Solidarity legalized, which is a great card for 4 operations, but does a wonderful thing, better even, by placing a Democrat support point in every uncontrolled worker and farmer space in Poland, and the communist player may no longer do support checks in Gdansk. Uh-oh, well that's going to hurt, right? But the better thing is that it opens up the play of another card that the Democrat got, Lech. So an electrician that became a politician. This is a huge one too. Place 4 Democratic support points in any space in Poland. The Democrat player then gets to make 2 support checks in Poland using the ops value of this card. So it's a 1-2 punch. So obviously one of the first things out the gate would be to play this Solidarity legalized, because the Democrat can see where the writing on the wall is here. The Democrat can see that the communist player is going to be trying to do a support check against Gdansk. So that would be a likely first play as an event. So right now the communist player is pulling their hair, saying, you totally blocked me from Gdansk here, which is what I did not want to happen. And you get to place a support point in every single farmer and worker spot that's not controlled. Which means here, 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 another support here, which now controls that. Not in Poznan, because it is controlled. Here. This is controlled, so it doesn't, even if it is him. So that pretty much changed everything, particularly for the communist player. So the communist player is now in a weak position. So and also you're going to keep this card. I'm going to put it sort of to the side here. We're going to be advancing these rounds, by the way. Keep this to the side to remember now we can play Walesa. So the communist is then going to have to decide what to do, and will have to come back some way to try to defeat the Democrat here. Well, the communist is on the ropes, but remember the communist also, in a sense, holds all the cards, because the communist player has the scorecard, so can choose when to play that scorecard. Well, Gdansk is out of the picture, so that cannot be done. The support check, which she wanted to do, cannot be done. So instead, it's better to just try to bolster the situation and maybe attack one of the other places, one of the other strongholds. So trying to get rid of something here that the Democrat can use. Remember, the communist had Democrat events, a few too many, and so this card here, although a Democrat, but to use it for perhaps some ops would be a good idea. Why? Well, because it says it places three Democrat support points in any Catholic Church space. Well, the Democrat has a lot of control of the Catholic Church already, so it's not really going to hurt. And even if he bolsters up this Catholic Church there, that's not likely to get a support check to take it down. So this is a good way to play it for 2 ops points. Play it for 2 ops points. Oh, by the way, I forgot there's a Solidarity legalized. We can put a nice little ding to show that we can't do any more support checks there. So 2 ops points. Well, place 3 Democratic support points in any Catholic Church space. So he's going to let the Democrat do that first. Why? Because he wants to be able to see what the Democrat's planning. So the Democrat gets to put 3 in any Catholic Church space. Has to be 1. Well, there's no real reason to put it there. That's going to be hard to break. It's going to be very, very difficult. So they're going to bolster up the one down here that has only 1 in it, and that's a future space. They can't do anything in East Germany because that's a Lutheran church. So we're not going to be able to put anything there, but you never know. Czechoslovakia is coming up, so putting 1 there. So that means that the communist now gets 2 things to put. They're going to put in some more of their support then. More support. And they've got a plan, because one of their cards is going to allow them to put into farmer zones. And so now that the support checks are going to be more difficult, one of the things they might do is put then at least one of the two into here. So there's one. Because getting control is going to be more important than, and having more cards to use, than necessarily taking out all of the Democrats. The Democrats got a very strong showing here. They might also then throw it into here, into the university. They get a quick control, and again, if they want to maybe try to work on getting Krakow weakened, that might be a place to go. So that would be a good way to at least even the score a little bit and put a place there. Well, obviously, the Democrat can find a way to get that out. That was a risky move because the Democrats have a lot of things that they can use to work with the intellectual zones. But at the very least, at the student zones, I'm sorry, at the very least, that's something that the communists might be able to do to allow support checks here, particularly if they can plan on getting loads, which might be very difficult. So now it's the Democrat turn, and they're going to be thinking about, oh, we should be moving that up. They could be thinking about what they're going to do next. Well, the Democrat sees the writing on the wall in that there's definitely going to be some sort of push around in here. And thankfully, with this up here more bolstered now from communist interference, it's going to be a little easier. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't lose it, but it's going to be a little bit easier to deal with the communists than not here. But what we see right away is that Poznan here is definitely in trouble from the Democrat player. So they're going to play this Nomenclature. Now, again, it's a communist event. Let's see if we can get it to, there we go. It's for 2. Place 3 communist support points in any elite spaces, or remove all Democrat support points from any elite spaces. Well, this is actually very good. Why? Because there aren't any Democrat support points in any elite space, so they're not going to have to worry. And the elite space here is already controlled by the communists. So again, it was sort of like what the communists just did with the Catholic Church. So they're going to play that, and they're going to say, the communists, go ahead and place those 3 support points. So they've basically done the opposite. The communists is actually going to use it, they're going to use it down in Czechoslovakia, which you can't see is off the board. And they're going to go ahead and take control of the elite space down there. So it's a future problem for the Democrat, but right away, because the Democrat can tell something's up in Poland, that there's going to be something going on. So they're actually going to use this as a support check against Poznan. So we have a +2 to the roll, but also a +1, 2, 3 for having 3 control next to it. So that's very, very good. Very good. Now they've got to get over a 6. So I'm going to roll the die. And they got 5 +2, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10. So we have gone over 4. Whoa! That was a great roll. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They need to exceed by 6. They've exceeded it by 4. Taking all 3 of these, and then also putting 1. So Poznan, not only did the communists lose Poznan, the Democrat actually got to place people into Poznan, making it a huge rout there against the communists, who is having a whole lot of trouble here in this round. So the communist is going to then be groaning some more. And the communists had decided, well, we've got several things to do, and the next thing that the communists had decided to do was go ahead and use this event for peasant parties, because it was going to bolster up their support in places where there are farmers. Again, the communist is really hurting here. He still has 1 or 2 tricks up his sleeve, but, you know, he's really hurting. He's really hurting. So he's going to use this peasant parties. It's going to remove it from the game. It's going to place 4 communist support points in farmer spaces, no more than 2 per space. So he's going to put in 2 into Lublin, which won't give him control because he still has to get 1 more, and 2 into Bialystok, which again, he hasn't quite got control of. He's hoping in the next few turns he's going to be able to have some time to help out and at least get control of one of these spaces. Likely Lublin. But that was better than playing that, again, it was only for 2 ops points. It was better than playing that for 2 ops points because 2 ops points wasn't going to give him 4 places. So now the Democrat is thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Well, oh boy, there's a lot of really cool stuff that I can do, and one of the things that would be really good. Remember, he's still got some communist, high-end communist things here he's got to deal with. But let's not do that yet because he knows something's up. So one of the things he's going to do is that he's going to play General Strike. And again, it's going to remove it from the game. Let's see if we can zoom in here. In the next action round, which we're now at 3. In the next action round, the communist must discard a card and roll a die. To end the strike, the total of ops value plus die roll must exceed 5. The communist must continue to discard a card and roll a die each action round until the strike is over, though he may play a scoring card during the strike. So, this is going to the Democrat is going to hamper the communist by playing that card. The communist is saying, what in the world? You've got the best cards in the entire game for your first turn. Well, sometimes that happens. So that's all that happens. So again, the communist now has to decide what to discard. Well, shoot, the communist says, I've got to roll higher than a 5, and this is going to be very difficult for me. So I'm going to discard one of your events and roll to see what happens. 2 plus 2, nope, not going to happen. So this General Strike is going to keep going. So now the communist is going to have a tough time. He's going to say, well, you know, I'm really going to have a tough time if I don't get these cards out that I want to get out. So he's going to play the Trollolo guy because state-run media removes 4 democratic support points, no more than 2 per space. Well, this will be very useful for him. First thing he's going to do is remove 1 from Lublin so he can take control of Lublin. Then he's going to remove 2 from Krakow. Or perhaps, maybe better to do Gdansk, right? Hard to say on that one. Let's do Gdansk because this one's going to be difficult to take out any other way. So he's going to remove 2 there, so he's taken 3 away. And then going to remove the 1 from Bialystok here, so that it's going to make it easier for him to take control of Bialystok. Well, you know, it's not great that he's not actually taking out of places that are battleground zones, but I mean, he's thinking ahead. He knows that he's got to play that scorecard. And, you know, again, I'm also doing this quickly, so I may not be playing the tightest round here. So now it's the turn of the Democrat. The Democrat's just sitting back because he knows he's got Lek, and he's going to use Lek, but he's not quite sure when. Knowing that the Soviet, the communist, is going to have to discard cards, he's thinking maybe it's time to use Lek as an event, because if he doesn't, then maybe if there is a scorecard flying around, then maybe that scorecard will come out. I mean, at this point, they're actually equal, so they would be getting equal support checks, or equal checks on the political struggle. So it's time to play Lek. What it's going to do is it's going to place 4 Democratic support points in any spaces in Poland. The Democrat can then make 2 support checks in Poland. Oh, I forgot to do my second support check on that other round. Well, let's just say I would have done something. Oh, I think I probably would have gone for the university. And that would have been a 3, it was a 2, so that would have actually switched that over. It would have, that'd be 1, and then plus I had, it'd be plus 1, so it actually would give the Democrat control of the university. But anyway, I forgot to do it. But again, you remember, you get 2 support checks, very powerful support checks, but so don't forget to do 2. So placing 4 in any space, it doesn't have to be 2. It's not limited. So this is good for the Democrat here because he had a little bit of weakness here. So what is he going to do? He gets 4. Well, he could take loads over right away and he gets to do some support checks, so that might not be a bad deal. Or he could take back Gdansk and have a bit better to get more support checks here. He could also break control of Lublin if he wanted to. So there's a lot of options here, and I think what would be the best idea would be to actually because he's going to get 2 support checks. So you want to make sure that you have the best possible support checks that you can. So Lodz would be a good place. Why? Because that'll at least give him a +1 to places against, definitely to Lublin, but also against Warsaw, although this will equal out the score. But remember, he's placed 3, so he has 1. Well, he can then ruin the communist control of that by placing 1 in there. Normally that would take 2 if you're using ops points, but because you're using an event to do it, it is definitely easier and better to do it this way. So now, 2 support checks. Well, the best thing to do then would be Lublin. Going to have to get 8 or higher, and he's only at he's at a +1. He's not at a +1 because the communist does have. Oh, let's do Warsaw first then. Good plan. So he's at a +1 for. Well, either way, they're supporting one another. So best to do then. Let's do Lublin because this is a battleground state. So Lublin is an 8 +3. He gets to roll +3 for Wałęsa, and it's a wash because they are adding and subtracting. Boy, he rolled a 5, 6, 7, 8. So nothing happened. Nothing happened. Boy, that was too bad. Well, it was a long shot anyway. So maybe then we're going to try Warsaw. Again, it's a wash because it's a 1 and 1, but he only needs to get 6. Oh my goodness. What rolls? So he rolled a 6, 7, 8, 9. So now he got a 9. So he is 3 over, removing control by the communists. This is painful for the communists. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. This is not particularly normal. I'll never roll like this again. So now the communist is hurt. Well, what's he going to have to do? He's very, very hurt, and he can't discard the Poland scoring. He has to deal with that strike. So the best thing to do would be then to use the wall here and just try. He rolled a 5, so that did get rid of the strike. So that means next time he's not going to have to worry about that. But that also means that he's only got 1 left to use for points here, and he's going to be then left behind a little bit. So he's going to use these for 2 support points because he knows, well, I've got to do something. So he's going to use this for 2 support points, and it's very difficult for him because it's going to be spreading these out. So he's going to use 1 in here to take control, and he's going to use 1. Remember, he has to play that. He has to play that scorecard next. So it's almost unbelievable. There's really not much he can do here that's going to help out. So really the best thing to do then would probably be to put 1 in a place where it's going to be either a way to get around. So back to Warsaw for the future. Although the future is grim. So this then gives the Democrat player a chance. He's going to actually do a Tiananmen Square because this is a terrible event for him to have, a 4. But the Tiananmen Square then will help him. So he rolls the die, and he's got 4, but he rolled a 5. He only needs to get 5, so he then would put a marker on the Tiananmen Square, and he would get then a +1 modifier for all Tiananmen Square rolls in the future. So that's a good way to dump that. That's his stopgap. Well, the communist only has one thing to do. This is going to be a short round. I'm not actually going to go all through these action rounds because the communist is now out of cards. What would happen is then the Democrat would get several cards to play. So now it's the score turn. Well, this is awful. This is really awful for the communist. But it's going to be an interesting thing for then your Democrat. So looking at this, the Democrat will get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards. Wow. And the communist will get 8. Well, obviously the Democrat is going to, in a power struggle, at the very beginning, you get to decide if you want to discard 3 cards to raise the stakes. Well, the Democrat's feeling pretty good. 14 versus 8. So looking at the cards, though, need to look at the cards. There's some marches, there's some strikes, a worker leader. They do have worker control, so they can use worker leader. Rally in the square, which is immediately going to give your opponent the initiative. But if you win the power struggle, with a rally in the square, then you get a +2 to your rolls to see what happens on that table. So that's nice. If you win a petition, it's going to be very difficult to steal initiative from, but you will also lose 2 to your support roll. You will lose 2 on your power struggle results table if you do that. There's a church leader. Well, obviously they've got the Catholic Church there, so that's good. An intellectual leader. They can't use that. So he might be one to discard. Another petition. An elite leader. Nope, can't use that, so definitely want to discard that. And let's see. We've got 2 petitions, so petitions are a little dangerous. So they're going to discard those 3 and raise the stakes. So that means that the roll on that power table for whoever wins will be a +1. So it's a way to kind of push your luck. Now the communist player played the scorecard, so they're the attacker here. An elite leader. Well, thankfully they still have the elite. 2 elite leaders. They lucked out there. A couple marches and a petition. And actually, not a terrible hand, except for the fact that they're going to be missing any rallies in the square. So they'll need to be using these elite leaders in case a rally in the square pops up. And they know that there's several rallies in the square in the deck, so it's likely that one will pop up. Okay, so they're going to lead just a regular march. They've got very high, so it's going to be hard for the Democrat to take. Now, the Democrat can, in a sense, outlast them. If the Democrat can match every one of them until they get to the point where the communist runs out of cards, that means the Democrat will win by default. So that's going to be a problem. So let's go ahead, though, and see if we can draw out a march. So the communist is going to play a march. So looking here, well, we've got several marches. No need to put one of the high marches up. There we go. We're going to put a march. So that's that. All right, now the communist is... Oh, now, the Democrat then gets to attack back, counterattack, which means they roll their die, and if they can exceed that amount, they will take the initiative. They did not, so they did not take the initiative. So now it's still the communist turn. Well, we're doing pretty well. But we don't want to use up all of... We've still got several marches and a petition. We don't want to use up all of our strikes and things, so we've got more marches. So let's go ahead and do another march here. And hopefully, if we just keep running them out of that suit, it might work out for us. Even if they have so many cards. Well, as you can tell, they've got plenty. So they're going to play, again, a low march. And there we go. The communist size shoot. And the Democrat rolls a 4 and takes the initiative. Well, a 5 and takes the initiative. So now it's the Democrats' turn. And the Democrat has a lot up their sleeves. They've got rallies in the square, they've got petitions, they've got marches, they've got leaders, they've got tons of strikes. So it'd probably be a good idea. They want to keep the initiative because remember, they can outlast. They're going to play a 5 strike. Well, luckily for the communists, they have plenty of strikes. They're going to respond with a strike and roll. Did not take the initiative. This is not good for the communists because the communists need to take the initiative or else they will just get simply outlasted. They will just simply be outlasted here if they can't get the initiative from the Democrat. The Democrat again has tons of strike, thinking, well, you know, if I just keep running them out of strikes, and I still have my worker leader and my church leader, so those will be good. And if I run them out of strikes, then maybe we can definitely pull that from them. Well, the communist is looking again and thinking, shoot, he keeps playing those strikes. This isn't good. I do have 2 wild cards, in a sense. I can play either of my leaders as that, but I also have 1 strike left. Best to be playing the strike that you have, even if it's a high initiative, and try again. 2, did not get the initiative. Again, the communist just isn't his day. All right, we've still got the Democrat. The Democrat's got plenty, thinking, well, he surely doesn't have enough more strikes, so we're going to keep striking here. Try to drive him out of as many cards as we can. Now again, now the communist is saying, shoot, I'm down to the wire here. I've only got my leader, so he has to play a leader or lose. So he's going to play his elite leader. Luckily, the Democrat's strike was only a 3. And the Communist returns to initiative. But the Communist is still running out of cards. So what is he going to do? He can either try to keep the initiative and play a petition, but if he wins, I guess it wouldn't be too bad. So he's going to do that. He's going to play his petition thinking, well, you know, we can try to, I'm going to keep the initiative here, but I'm probably still going to run out of cards. So, petition and a 6's roll. Now I need to just quickly check to see, again, rolling like crazy, just need to see if you get initiative, if you equal it. Yep, so the Democrat took back the initiative on a crazy roll of a 6. It looks like that the Communist is just not going to have any luck here. So what is the Democrat going to do? He's got two leaders to use. He's still got a strike. He's like, you know, he's only got 2 cards, and I've really made him play strikes, so I'm going to make him play a strike. Oh, the Communist says, well, I've got to play that elite leader as a strike then. I only have an elite leader and a march. And he takes back initiative. So the good thing for the Communist here in that he's going to play a march, and the Democrat's going to respond with a march, because it's the last march. But the lucky thing for the Communist then is going to keep the initiative but run out of cards. The lucky thing for the Communist is that the Democrat did not get a chance to do a rally in the square, which was definitely good. If he had done a rally in the square, he would have gotten a +2 in addition to the 1 that he already got for raising the stakes, for rolling on that support table. So that's a very good thing for the Communist in the sense that it's going to be less of a problem than it was. So I'm not going to actually show you what we're going to do with the losing of a support, because I'm going to end it here. But I'm going to show you then what the support table is, and we're going to roll it off. So the Democrat then would have the Communist roll for support loss, and he rolls a 3, so we would lose 1 support in Poland. And then the Democrat would then roll, 3 actually +1, so he would get a 4, so we'd actually lose 2. So remember, we're rolling +1s because the Democrat raised the stakes. The Democrat then rolls a 5 +1, 6, would gain 3 victory points on the track. And Poland is now free! Poland is now a democracy. So the Polish scoring card would then be removed. You would place a support point next to Poland's score chart, and you would then that would be the revolution. Now, you would also then gain, depending on the presence, domination, and control. And it looks to me like, just quickly, the Democrat then would gain an extra 6 points because they dominated Poland, and the Communist would get 3 points because they only had a Polish presence. Yes, they would maintain a Polish presence even after having removed 2. Ooh boy, but barely. So that's basically a turn in a nutshell. You would actually have a few more action turns, and the Communists would be a little bit hampered. This was a terrible round, not at all representative for how the Communist would go. So I hope you enjoyed my quick look at 1989, Dawn of Freedom. Thank you for bearing with me. I know it was a long video, but hopefully you enjoyed that quick first turn AAR. Thank you very much.